I'm here to stop you.
Green light.
The field was huge, green grass stretched far. A white line was painted at the distant end. Near that line, a giant doll stood. It looked innocent, almost childlike with its bright colors, but it was not innocent. It was a harbinger of doom. Hundreds of players stood shoulder to shoulder. They wore green tracksuits, each with a number. Fear was a cold, unwelcome hand gripping their hearts tightly. They all knew the stories. They remembered the terrible cost of failure. Some whispered quiet prayers to any god that might listen. Others just stared ahead, their faces pale and drawn. Seong Gi-hun, player 456, was back. He should not have been here. Not after everything. Yet here he stood on the familiar, dreaded field. His hair was no longer the shocking red it once was. Now it was dark, matching the grim determination in his eyes. He had a purpose. He had to stop this madness. He had to end these horrific games once and for all. He looked at the unmoving doll. He remembered his friends, those he had lost. He took a shaky breath and then stepped forward, a lone figure against the backdrop of dread.
Green light.
Instantly, players surged forward, a desperate, chaotic, mad dash towards the finish line. They ran as if their very lives depended on it, because they did. Then, abruptly, the song cut off.
Red light.
Silence fell, heavy and absolute. Gi-hun froze mid-stride, but he had spoken just moments before. Had the doll's sensors detected his defiant words? The doll's eyes, black and unnervingly empty, seemed to fix directly on him, a tiny, almost imperceptible movement. A twitch from Gi-hun. Was it his imagination or a fatal error? A sharp, distinct sensor beeped. A single shot rang out. Gi-hun fell to the ground. Screams erupted. Pure, raw, unadulterated terror ripped through the air. Gi-hun was gone. The champion, the one who had survived, was now eliminated. If he could fall, then truly no one was safe. Panic shattered the fragile discipline of the remaining players. They broke ranks. They ran. Some still aimed for the distant finish line, a desperate, foolish hope. Others ran for the towering walls, seeking any escape, anywhere but here, under the gaze of that terrible doll. Hidden machine guns embedded within the walls suddenly opened fire, a deadly, terrifying symphony of destruction. Bright red stained the once pristine green grass. Chaos reigned supreme. Far away, high above the bustling streets of New York City, Peter Parker felt a sudden, inexplicable chill. This was not the usual kind of shiver from a cold breeze. This felt different, deeper, more ominous. He was, after all, Spider-Man. He sensed things that others could not. Danger, trouble. He was on his regular patrol, swinging gracefully between towering skyscrapers. The city hummed below him, a familiar urban song, but then a different sound reached his enhanced ears. It was faint at first, almost lost in the city's noise. Distant gunshots, not just one or two, but many. And then screams. So many screams. This was not a typical New York City robbery. This sound signature was something bigger, something far more sinister and organized. His spider sense, that uncanny internal alarm, began to scream. It was a primal warning, insistent and urgent. He knew he had to find the source of this disturbance. He changed his direction immediately. He swung faster than before, higher than before. He followed the faint, chilling echo of terror. The sound led him out over the vast, dark ocean. It guided him towards a forgotten, isolated island. An island mysteriously shrouded in a thick, unnatural mist, hidden from the world. He landed softly, silently, on a craggy cliff overlooking a strange arena. Below him, a horrifying and surreal scene unfolded. A giant, incredibly creepy doll stood at one end of a field. People in green tracksuits were running, many were falling. Guards in bright pink jumpsuits, their faces hidden by masks, carried guns. This was a nightmare made real, a twisted, deadly game. He could not just stand by and watch this unfold. He had to intervene. He had to do something. He took a deep, steadying breath. This was crazier than almost anything he had ever faced before. He then leapt from the cliff.
Hey there, Woody's creepy cousin.
The giant doll's head swiveled with mechanical precision. Its advanced sensors picked up a new player, an anomaly, an unscheduled arrival.
Red light. Green light.
Spider-Man landed in a perfect three-point crouch. He saw the laser sights flicking across the ground, searching for targets. He was not playing their deadly game. He then shot a thick strand of web. Thwip! It landed squarely over the doll's large camera eyes, effectively blinding it. The giant doll flailed its limbs. Blinded and confused, it could no longer track its targets. It began to fire its integrated weapons wildly in all directions. Deadly lasers crisscrossed the field, narrowly missing Spider-Man, but Spider-Man was a blur of red and blue. He dodged, he weaved, he used his incredible agility and superhuman reflexes. His spider sense screamed warnings, guiding him through the lethal barrage. He shot more webs, strong, sticky, industrial-strength webs. He expertly wrapped them around the doll's massive legs, then he pulled, hard. With a tortured groan of twisting metal and snapping supports, the enormous doll crashed heavily to the ground. Silence, a stunned silence, descended upon the field. It was broken only by the soft whimpers and ragged breathing of the few remaining terrified players. They stared wide-eyed at Spider-Man. Who was this masked figure? Where did he come from? The pink-suited guards, recovering from their initial shock, aimed their weapons at the newcomer. But they hesitated. This intruder was different. He had powers they did not understand. He had just taken down their most formidable enforcer. Spider-Man surveyed the nightmarish scene. He saw the control tower looming nearby, the obvious place where the puppet master pulled all the strings.
All right, game time's over, folks.
His voice, though usually light-hearted, now carried an undeniable weight of authority. He moved with lightning speed. He webbed the guards' guns, yanking them from their hands before they could react. Quickly, efficiently, he moved like a phantom. He knew he had to find out who was behind this unspeakable cruelty. He fought his way towards the main building, the nerve center of the operation. He moved past bewildered guards, disarming them with ease. He headed towards the private chambers, towards the place where the front man waited. He could feel it. The source of the darkness was close. He kicked open a heavy, reinforced steel door. Inside, a solitary figure stood before a bank of monitors, watching the chaos unfold on the screens. The figure was dressed entirely in black. A stark, geometric mask hid his face completely. The front man. He turned slowly, deliberately. His movements were calm, almost serene. He reached up to his mask. Spider-Man tensed, his muscles coiled, ready for anything, ready for a fight. The mask came off. Spider-Man's world tilted violently on its axis. His breath caught in his throat. A choked gasp escaped him.
Ben? No.
It could not be. It was his long-lost older brother, Richard Parker. Peter Parker, Spider-Man whispered. His voice was barely audible, thick with disbelief. Shock, cold and sharp, pierced through him. A wave of profound nausea threatened to overwhelm him. This was impossible, utterly impossible. Richard had disappeared years ago, vanished without a trace. Everyone had presumed he was dead. How could he be here, alive, and running this grotesque horror show? The man standing before him looked older, of course, harder. The lines on his face spoke of a difficult life, but the eyes... Peter knew those eyes, or at least he thought he once did. Now they held a chilling emptiness. Richard Parker smirked. It was a cold, cruel twist of his lips, completely devoid of any warmth or recognition.
Hello, little brother. Surprised to see me? I always was the smart one, Peter, the ambitious one.
He gestured expansively around the opulent, high-tech control room.
This is true power. This is true order. Something you, with your naive, simplistic heroics, would never ever understand. I give people a choice, a fair chance at a new life or a swift end. Fair? You call this fair, Richard? This is murder. Cold-blooded murder for entertainment, for the amusement of rich sociopaths, for money. Narrator. Media group Spider-Man with a look of burning rage, intense close-up of a man feeling deep anger. Of stock, distribute equally. Peter felt a burning rage build within him. A deep, simmering anger mixed with an almost unbearable, profound sadness.
Richard merely shrugged, his expression indifferent.
The world is a cruel game, Peter. It always has been. I just made the rules clearer, more transparent.
He calmly drew a specialized high-caliber pistol from beneath his jacket. The fight was inevitable now, brother against brother, ideals clashing like thunder. There was no turning back. Spider-Man lunged, Richard fired. The once pristine control room became a chaotic battleground. Webs flew through the air, seeking to ensnare. Bullets ricocheted off metal surfaces with dangerous whines. Expensive computer equipment and furniture splintered into pieces under the force of their conflict. Each blow landed not just with physical force, but with heavy emotional weight. Years of shared history, of brotherhood now twisted and contorted into bitter enmity. Who would prevail in this tragic confrontation, the hero clinging desperately to hope and justice, or the brother consumed entirely by a dark, nihilistic philosophy? The outcome hangs precariously in the balance. Their desperate battle rages on, and you, dear reader, must decide who wins this tragic, fateful duel.